Hey everybody, this is my 20-gallon open-topped office tank, and tonight we're just going to do a simple before and after water change video. I got to get in there and do a little bit of tank maintenance. No big deal, just going to do a water change, wipe the glass down, and replace the filter pad. And we'll go ahead and check the nitrates and the water conditions while we're in there. I'm doing a little sort of experiment on this tank. I've got that big pothos plant in there, and I'm just going to sort of let that grow out of control and get as big and lush as it wants, because I often hear people talking about how pothos plant will remove all of the nitrate from your aquarium, and that has not been my experience. I know it does use some nutrients out of the aquarium, but it does not work like magic and simply remove all of the nitrate. And so I'm going to put a big one in a tank, and we're going to keep an eye on it and see what happens. So that's not really what this video is going to be about. This is, like I said, just a simple before and after water change, and once the glass is nice and cleaned up, we'll zoom in a little closer and get a nice look at that German blue ram there in all its glory with all those beautiful shiny colors. So there you go. Consider this your before, and there's your after. So as I said, I just did a simple water change. I changed out the filter and I wiped the glass down. I did a little bit of really superficial gravel vacuuming just to get all of the little detritus and stuff that settles onto the bottom. But in this tank I've got a really fine white sand mixed in with the gravel, and if I do any kind of gravel vacuuming that's, you know, more than a surface skim, then it actually removes the sand from the tank. And of course the goal in this tank is also to try to develop a little bit of a denitrification process with that slightly deeper sand bed. I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll see. I've been patiently waiting and it has not happened yet, but we'll see. So the idea is I don't want to disturb the sand bed any more than I have to anyway, so doing a simple surface, vac just to get the loose stuff off the surface is fine. That's all I really need to do in this tank. So the other thing that I had talked about was the nitrate, and we're going to do a comparison test right now. So I just dipped in the bucket of old water. We're now going to take a dip of the new water, and we will give that a moment. I can already see the original water is turning very pink very quickly. Let's see, where are we? There we are. I don't know how well we're going to be able to see this. You can see the one on the top there is much darker pink already, and that was the original water versus the water change. But I'm telling you, after the water change, I know it's not coming out real well on camera and you don't have the actual scale to look at to compare it to, but I can tell you from experience by using these strips that even the after is way up there. We're probably at least at 60 to 80 parts per million. That's fairly pink for this Tetra dip strip. They don't get very dark when they're down in that lower end of the range. Once you start getting up around 60 to 80 parts per million, you start getting that darker color. The before is turning almost red. I've never actually seen it get that color. And one of the problems is I have so many fish in this tank. It's really overstocked. I've got a bunch of those red wag platies. The idea was this ram was supposed to eat a lot of the fry and keep the population in check, but because I have so much caves and so much roots and places for the fry to hide, even though the ram does a pretty good job of keeping the fry in check, a lot of them make it through and a lot of them grow to adulthood. One of the things I've noticed recently about the platies, you can see a little baby one right there, they seem to react oddly after my water changes. They all go into this almost like a shock mode. They hide up in the corners, they get up against the surface. I saw one or two of them, they might actually still be sitting in there. The cup for the planter for the Anubias up there is actually sort of dipped down below the water level, and there's a couple of fish that are in the planter. They've gotten inside the lip of the planter and are in there. So it's weird how they really react the way they do. I did not do a huge water change, but at the same time I kind of did. Again, this is a theme I'm going to talk about here in an upcoming video pretty soon. But this is a 20-gallon tank, and while the water level was a little bit low, and I probably could have added a gallon or maybe a gallon and a half just to top it off to begin with. I only took 5 gallons out. I took a 5-gallon bucket out, and yet I brought the water level down probably to about here in the tank. You know, I mean, it looked like I did a 80% water change, and that was only by doing a 5-gallon water change. And the reason is there's so much stuff in this tank. All those plants, all those pieces of wood, all those rocks, that big planter that's hanging in the back, all that substrate, all of that displaces water. So this tank might hold 20 gallons when it's completely empty, and I'm even skeptical of that. I'm wondering how they come up with this 20-gallon or 10-gallon or whatever when they size a tank. I'm beginning to think it has more to do with the volume of the overall tank. In other words, if we were to submerge that tank in water, the whole entire thing might displace 20 gallons of water, but that does not mean you can fill it with 20 gallons of water. So I'm a little curious about that. I might actually just measure how much water a 10-gallon or 20-gallon tank holds. But anyway, long story short, I know it's too late for that, but long story short, I did a pretty significant water change, and that could be what's causing a little bit of shock with those platies. But, you know, I don't know. It's weird. It seems the platies get shocked, but this German blue ram seems just fine. He's all bright and colorful. So I don't know. I don't know why the platies seem to react that way when I do these water changes or whatever, but they do. So anyway, there you go. That is a look before and after at my 20-gallon tank, and obviously the pothos plant in there is not magicking away the nitrates yet, so there you go. Alright everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. Don't forget I do memberships now and all that good stuff. See you real soon in the next one.